The idea that a loved one may suddenly disappear is unlikely to visit most of us. We only hear about such stories from the news. This is what happened to the characters in our video. Look to the end, it's a shock. In 1987, Gabriel Nagi left home in the late afternoon and never returned. His wife and 2 children have lived for 2 decades with no idea what happened to him or if he is alive. Gabriel was a wonderful family man, a loyal husband, and a loving father. No one could believe that he was missing. The man and his family lived in Sydney, Australia. His wife, Pamela, and 2 children had excellent family relationships. Gabriel worked as a contractor, helping stores build and repair their offices and retail space. Although his dream was to become an accountant and he took courses to eventually get a license. The night he disappeared, the man managed to call his wife and tell her that he would be at dinner by 8 o'clock. Pamela prepared a delicious dish and waited with the children for him, but he never returned. Initially, Pamela had a misunderstanding of the situation, but when the police found Gabriel's burned-out car, fear and panic came. Pamela started looking for her husband. She distributed and pasted leaflets around the city. Police also began searching for the man. The children suffered a lot and constantly cried, because their beloved father was gone. 2 weeks after the disappearance, the police found out that money was withdrawn from Gabriel's account. The strange thing was that this bank was located 150 kilometers from Sydney. It already seemed that the husband could be found, but all traces were cut off, and for the next 23 years, his family did not know anything about him. One police officer, looking through documents from 20 years ago, was about to officially declare Gabriel dead, but suddenly she noticed something that made her sit down in a chair. I will continue as soon as you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, friends. In the database of hospitals in Australia, documents with the name of Gabriel Nagi were found. It turned out that he was having an eye operation. Only to doctors he went under a new name, Ron Sanders. Ron Sanders, as it turned out after checking, lived in the town of Mackay, which is 1,000 miles from Sydney. The police officer found out his phone number and called him. The man told the officer that the last 20 years of life were a nightmare. Most of the time he lived as a homeless man, moving from city to city. He lived on alms from passers-by. The woman had to fly to Mackay to meet the man. She immediately recognized him from the photos. It was Gabriel Nagi. She also showed him photos of the family and his memory began to return. The man said that during the accident, he was severely injured and hit his head. He almost forgot everything. He just wandered the streets and cities trying to get by day after day. And he chose the name Ron Sanders by accident when he passed by Sanders Beach. Since he didn't know what his name was, he chose the name Ron Sanders. After that, Gabriel wrote a 7-page letter to his family and gave his phone number. His daughter immediately wrote him a message, "Hi Dad." No one could believe that Gabriel was alive. A couple of weeks later, the man flew to Sydney, where his daughter met him. He brought a bouquet of flowers and they hugged for a long time. Unfortunately, he still doesn't remember his family very well. He agreed to be in contact with them, but did not decide to move to live with them.